They called Earth weak, outdated, and unprepared, but the human fleet turned every disadvantage into a weapon, striking the galaxy in ways no one expected. Watch how humanity claimed its throne among the stars. Subscribe now to witness the full story. The Galactic Council had gathered in their massive crystal chamber, the stars outside twinkling like 1,000 eyes watching every decision. Representatives from countless advanced civilizations hovered in zero-gravity seats, their expressions a mix of curiosity, arrogance, and impatience. All eyes turned to Earth, the young planet that had dared to expand beyond its borders. The Council spoke with stern voices, demanding that humanity upgrade its fleet immediately. Their words dripping with scorn, they claimed Earth's ships were obsolete, fragile relics of a bygone era, unfit to defend themselves or project power. And yet Earth had persisted in keeping them. The humans sent delegates in their sleek, modest vessels, vastly outnumbered and clearly less technologically advanced than the other members. Whispers and murmurs echoed across the chamber as council members examined them, some smirking, some shaking their heads. Their judgment was clear. The Earthlings had not modernized. They were behind. And according to the council, that made them a danger to themselves and the galaxy. But the human ambassadors remained composed, their faces calm masks of determination, knowing that outward appearances were only part of the story. One human diplomat, an older woman with silver-streaked hair and eyes sharp as blades, addressed the council, her voice steady. "We acknowledge your concerns regarding our fleet, yet we ask you to trust that appearances can be deceiving." Her words were polite but carried weight. She explained that while the ships looked outdated, humanity had invested decades in upgrades invisible to outside observers. Enhancements that made their vessels faster, more resilient, and more deadly than the Council could imagine. Some of these upgrades were experimental, risky even, but humans had mastered them quietly. As she spoke, the Council members exchanged skeptical glances. One of the taller alien delegates with translucent skin and multiple eyes leaned forward, his voice cold and questioning. "Do you expect us to believe that your antiquated ships designed centuries ago could rival our modern fleets? Your claims are laughable." He waved a clawed hand dismissively. Laughter rippled through sections of the chamber, a sound that would have unnerved a weaker species. But the human delegate remained unfazed, instead allowing a subtle, confident smile. She knew the Council did not understand humanity, that their tactics and ingenuity were beyond their narrow perspective. Behind the scenes on Earth, while the Council debated and underestimated them, human engineers worked tirelessly, monitoring the discussions remotely, refining strategies, running simulations of battles with hypothetical advanced fleets. Every outdated ship in their fleet was being upgraded in ways the Council could never detect. Some modifications involved hidden energy fields. Others were covert weapon systems disguised as ordinary ship structures. They even experimented with electronic countermeasures and tactical maneuvers that no one had ever used before. The humans were turning weaknesses into strengths, quietly, methodically. The debate in the Council chamber grew more heated. Representatives demanded proof. The Council wanted to see demonstrations. Human delegates offered only a measured response, promising that when the time came, their fleet would reveal its true power. A subtle tension filled the chamber. The aliens assumed Earth was bluffing, that their pride and stubbornness would eventually force them to comply and upgrade to standard fleets. But the humans had no intention of bowing to the Council's judgment. They had a plan, one built on foresight, preparation, and the confidence that the galaxy had yet to understand. Outside the chamber, in orbit around Earth, the old ships of the human fleet glimmered in the sunlight, seemingly ordinary, battered, and outdated. They looked fragile, slow, unremarkable, the kind of ships the Council had criticized. Yet every surface hid enhancements, every corridor hid ingenuity. The humans had spent years ensuring that no enemy, no Council member, and no alien fleet would ever guess the true capability of these vessels. Appearances were a shield, deception was a strategy, and patience was their weapon. When the Council session finally ended, they left with a sense of triumph, convinced that Earth would soon be forced to upgrade, to comply with the standards imposed by the galaxy's most powerful species. They believed the planet would eventually bow, as all others had, but Earth's leaders returned to their command centers with quiet confidence. They understood that the Council's underestimation was their greatest advantage. The arrogance of others had blinded them to the truth, and humanity was ready to demonstrate that even with outdated ships, they could hold a throne among the stars, untouchable and respected. Every human diplomat, engineer, and fleet commander knew that this was only the beginning. The Council's decree had provided the perfect cover, an illusion that humanity could use to prepare, to train, and to position themselves for the confrontation that would come. The galaxy watched in arrogance, but humans moved in silence. Their plans hidden, their confidence unshaken. The stage was set for a battle that would defy expectations and redefine the meaning of power in the stars. While the galaxy mocked Earth for its old and outdated ships, the humans worked in quiet determination, transforming their fleet in ways no one could notice. Inside massive shipyards scattered across the planet and in hidden orbital stations, engineers and scientists labored tirelessly, installing secret upgrades, testing experimental weapons, and enhancing the ship's defenses in ways that the Council could never detect. Every hull, every engine, every weapon system had been carefully modified to turn apparent weaknesses into hidden strengths. The ships looked ordinary to outsiders, battered and aged, but beneath the surface, they were masters of deception and ingenuity. Energy shields were strengthened with layers of adaptive fields that could absorb impacts far greater than any enemy expected. Propulsion systems were optimized for stealthy, unpredictable maneuvers, and hidden compartments contained automated drones and weapon arrays ready to strike at precise moments. Human engineers had created a fleet that could seem fragile, yet strike with devastating efficiency. Command centers were filled with simulations of every possible scenario. Computers ran continuous calculations to anticipate enemy moves. Strategies that relied on speed, surprise, and coordination were honed to perfection. No alien fleet in history had faced opponents who combined tactical brilliance with deception on such a scale. Humans studied the behavior of every species in the Council, learning patterns, weaknesses, and tendencies, and designed countermeasures that could turn those tendencies against the enemy. Every detail was meticulously planned. In addition to technological upgrades, humans trained relentlessly, practicing maneuvers that seemed impossible for their ships. Pilots learned to weave through asteroid fields at breakneck speeds, coordinate attacks across vast distances, and exploit gravitational anomalies. Communication systems were encrypted and redundant, ensuring that even if one network was compromised, the fleet could still operate flawlessly. The so-called outdated ships became living extensions of human skill, reacting to threats faster than the most advanced enemy systems. Engineers also experimented with electronic warfare, creating systems that could confuse enemy sensors, disrupt communications, and make ships appear larger or smaller than they actually were. Enemy scanners would detect phantom fleets or miss real vessels entirely. The humans had turned deception into a weapon, making their ships unpredictable and dangerous. No one in the galaxy could have guessed that what looked weak was actually a carefully engineered force capable of incredible feats. Even the smallest ships were enhanced. Nothing was left untouched. From mining vessels modified to carry hidden weapons, to cargo ships converted into mobile defense platforms, humans had ensured that every ship had a role in the fleet's strategy. No vessel was truly ordinary, and every component could serve multiple purposes depending on the battle. The fleet had become a chessboard, each ship a piece with hidden powers, ready to outmaneuver and outthink opponents far stronger on paper. Despite all the upgrades and secret weapons, humans remained calm, their confidence quiet but unshakable. They understood that true strength did not come from appearances, but from preparation, adaptability, and creativity. While other species relied solely on technology, humans relied on a combination of technology and human ingenuity. The fleet was not just a collection of ships, it was an expression of human resourcefulness, patience, and resilience. In secret briefings, commanders emphasized flexibility, teaching crews to improvise when plans failed, to use every environment to their advantage, and to exploit the arrogance of opponents who assumed humans were weak. Simulations showed that even fleets far larger and more advanced could be outmaneuvered by careful planning and clever tactics. The humans had created a force that could surprise, overwhelm, and endure, all while seeming harmless to the unsuspecting eye. When alien spies attempted to gather intelligence, they reported back only what they could see on the surface. Old hulls, slow engines, and outdated designs. Nothing revealed the hidden brilliance within. The galaxy continued to underestimate Earth, not realizing that the very ships they mocked were designed to confound expectations. The humans had turned ridicule into camouflage, secrecy into strategy, and patience into a weapon. Every ship in the fleet was ready to prove its hidden strength. By the time the alien armada began its approach, humans had completed every upgrade, drilled every maneuver, and tested every system. The so-called outdated ships were now a lethal force, each one a marvel of hidden capability, ready to defend Earth and demonstrate to the galaxy that appearances could not predict outcomes. The fleet was ready. The humans were ready. And the universe would soon learn that even the oldest vessels could achieve the impossible when guided by intelligence, courage, and unyielding determination. The alien armada advanced steadily through the void of space, massive ships glinting in the cold light of distant stars, their engines leaving long trails of energy as they moved with confidence. Commanders aboard the alien flagship assumed an easy victory. Their strategy relied on overwhelming numbers, advanced technology, and a belief that humans had nothing to match their superior fleets. Intelligence reports had labeled Earth's ships as outdated and weak, a target ripe for conquest, yet every move they made unknowingly played into human preparation. Earth's scouts and satellites tracked the approaching armada meticulously, sending real-time data back to the command centers. Human admirals studied every formation, every speed, every pattern in the enemy's approach, and began planning countermeasures that leveraged the terrain of space itself. Asteroid fields, gravitational anomalies, and magnetic storms became part of the battlefield. Humans had learned to turn natural phenomena into weapons, creating zones where alien ships would struggle to maintain formation, while human vessels could maneuver freely with practiced precision. The fleet appeared small and outdated, even to those on Earth. Yet every vessel carried secret enhancements designed for speed, stealth, and firepower. Humans coordinated every ship to work as a unit, linking sensors, weapons, and communication systems in ways that allowed rapid reaction to enemy moves. Even minor changes in enemy behavior could be detected and exploited immediately. Alien commanders, confident in their advantage, could not imagine that the humans had turned what they called weaknesses into tools for dominance. In orbital command centers, fleet leaders ran endless simulations, testing strategies for ambushes, decoys, and evasive maneuvers. They practiced controlling the fleet in tight spaces, navigating through clusters of asteroids while keeping formation. Every ship's pilot was trained to anticipate enemy reactions and respond instinctively. The human fleet became more than just a collection of vessels. It became a single, cohesive organism, moving with purpose and intelligence far beyond what the aliens expected. As the alien ships drew closer to the outer rim of the Sol system, Earth's fleet shifted positions subtly, taking advantage of asteroid belts and space debris to hide their numbers. Sensor echoes were manipulated to create false readings, giving the impression that the fleet was smaller and weaker than it really was. Alien reconnaissance was confused, data conflicted, and commanders struggled to determine the true layout of the human defenses. Every move Earth made was designed to delay, mislead, and frustrate the armada. Communication between Earth's vessels was seamless, allowing for coordinated maneuvers that appeared almost telepathic. Humans employed tactics never seen before by other civilizations. Ships could split into multiple small groups, lure the enemy into traps, then regroup instantly, exploiting gaps in alien formations. Every engagement was rehearsed, yet flexible, allowing captains to improvise if unexpected opportunities arose. The combination of preparation and adaptability gave humans an invisible edge, one that the aliens could not calculate. The aliens attempted to form their classic wedge formations, expecting that brute force would break through human lines. Yet every maneuver was anticipated. Earth's ships adjusted in real time, leading attackers into zones where natural space hazards amplified the effectiveness of their weapons. The so-called outdated vessels struck with precision, hitting critical points while minimizing exposure. Alien commanders began to notice that every step forward seemed to play into the humans' plan. an unsettling thought for species accustomed to unquestioned superiority. As the Armada crossed into human-controlled space, tension rose among alien fleets. Reports of unexpected losses and malfunctioning systems spread quickly. Humans had deployed hidden mines, energy field traps, and electronic jammers, all designed to create confusion and panic. Even the most advanced ships could not move freely without risk. The terrain of space itself had become a battlefield, and Earth's fleet was in complete command of it. Every ship seemed to know exactly where to be, when, and how to strike. Despite the approaching danger, humans remained calm, their confidence unshaken. They watched the Armada approach like predators observing prey. Patience was their weapon. Every delay and hesitation in the alien ranks only strengthened their position. When the first real engagement began, humans would be ready to strike with the full force of preparation, ingenuity, and hidden power. The galaxy had never seen anything like it, and the aliens were on the verge of learning that appearances could not predict outcomes. The Armada's advance set the stage for a battle that would test the limits of strategy, courage, and intelligence. Humans had chosen every position, calculated every variable, and prepared for every possible scenario. Their ships, though outdated in appearance, were masters of space warfare, ready to surprise, overwhelm, and redefine what it meant to be strong. And the galaxy watched, unaware that the so-called weakest fleet was about to demonstrate a brilliance that no one could ignore. The throne among the stars was ready to be defended, untouchable and unchallenged. The first clash between Earth's fleet and the alien Armada erupted near the outer edge of the Sol system, the vacuum of space lit by sudden bursts of energy as weapons fired. Alien ships moved with confidence, expecting minimal resistance. Their superior numbers and advanced technology should have guaranteed an easy victory. Yet, as their first volleys hit, human ships responded with maneuvers that seemed impossible for vessels of their age. Energy shields flared and absorbed attacks, while human weapons struck from unexpected angles. Alien commanders were stunned, their calculations proving useless against the unpredictable tactics of the humans. Ships that appeared weak darted through the battlefield, weaving between asteroids and debris with uncanny precision. Small human vessels acted as decoys, drawing enemy fire, while hidden capital ships launched counterattacks. Every strike was measured, every movement coordinated. The humans turned the battlefield itself into a weapon, making use of space terrain in ways the alien Armada had never anticipated. Communication across the human fleet was seamless, each captain acting as if connected to a central mind. Decisions were instant and precise. Humans anticipated enemy maneuvers, setting traps that neutralized superior technology. Alien officers shouted orders that were immediately countered by humans who had already predicted their strategy. Chaos spread among the invaders as attacks were repelled in unexpected ways. Missiles that should have destroyed vessels were intercepted. Beams that should have penetrated shields dissipated harmlessly, and alien formations began to falter. The aliens had assumed their fleet's sheer size and advanced weapons would overwhelm the humans. But every assumption was turned against them. Humans employed feints, sudden retreats, and rapid repositioning, forcing alien ships into dangerous positions where collisions, gravitational anomalies, and hidden human weapons caused severe damage. The seemingly outdated ships appeared to vanish and reappear, striking with deadly precision at critical points. Confusion spread through the enemy lines as ships began to overextend and isolate themselves. On board human ships, crews remained focused and calm, trained for years in simulations of impossible scenarios. Their nerves steady even under heavy fire. Pilots executed maneuvers that required perfect timing. Gunners fired at targets with unerring accuracy. Engineers maintained shields and weapons under extreme stress. The fleet functioned like a living organism, each component supporting the others. Every apparent weakness was a trap, every retreat a lure, and every engagement a carefully orchestrated act. Alien technology, though advanced, was predictable, relying on conventional strategies and rigid formations. The humans exploited this rigidity relentlessly. Small groups of ships would engage briefly, then withdraw, forcing the aliens to chase them into zones filled with debris, mines, and hidden energy fields. Damage reports began to mount, and panic started to spread. Alien pilots struggled to maintain cohesion. Confused by the humans' ability to strike from directions that should have been impossible, the battle became a test of adaptability and cunning. Even the largest alien vessels, which should have dominated the battlefield, found themselves vulnerable. Human ships executed coordinated attacks on their weak points, energy bursts overloaded shields, and hidden drones sabotaged critical systems. The aliens could not comprehend how outdated vessels were accomplishing what their advanced fleets could not. The psychological effect was immense. Morale dropped, command structures wavered, and confidence in victory began to crumble. Throughout the engagement, Earth's admirals remained calm, observing and adjusting strategy in real time. They allowed the aliens to think they were in control while slowly tightening their trap. Every movement, every strike was part of a larger plan. Patience and precision outweighed raw firepower. The humans had studied their enemy extensively, predicting behaviors and exploiting them to perfection. Every so-called weakness became an advantage, every old ship a potential threat. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the alien armada had underestimated Earth. The very ships they had dismissed as obsolete were holding the line and inflicting devastating losses. Human tactics combined ingenuity, speed, and unpredictability, proving that intelligence and preparation could overcome technological superiority. The first clash had set the tone for the entire war, teaching the galaxy that humans were not to be judged by appearances, and that even outdated ships could dominate the battlefield with skill, courage, and strategy. By the end of the engagement, the alien commanders were forced to retreat temporarily to reassess their strategy. Shocked and demoralized by a fleet they believed weak, human ships remained largely intact, ready to strike again. Every crew member knew they had turned the tide with precision, coordination, and daring. And the universe would soon realize that Earth's throne among the stars was not just secure, but defended by the brilliance hidden within ships no one had ever respected. As the battle intensified, human ships moved with precision and purpose, exploiting every weakness in the alien armada. Despite their smaller numbers and seemingly outdated technology, humans had prepared for this exact moment. Every maneuver had been practiced countless times, every weapon tested and improved. The aliens had assumed superiority, relying on brute force and advanced systems. But the humans used speed, deception, and clever tactics to gain the upper hand. Small groups of human ships acted as decoys, drawing alien attention, while hidden vessels struck from unexpected angles. Energy beams and missiles seemed to vanish before the enemy could react. Shields absorbed attacks that should have been devastating, and coordinated counterattacks disabled key alien systems. Every strike was deliberate, designed to exploit predictable enemy behaviors. Alien commanders struggled to adapt, their formations breaking under pressure. Confusion spreading across the fleet as humans executed moves no one thought possible. The humans also used the terrain of space to their advantage. Asteroid belts became natural barriers, gravitational anomalies were used to enhance ship speed or trap enemy vessels. Hidden mines and energy fields disrupted alien movements. The battlefield itself seemed alive with human strategy. Every obstacle turned into a weapon. The aliens had expected open space combat where raw firepower mattered. Instead, they found themselves facing an opponent who controlled the environment as easily as their ships. Even the largest alien cruisers, which should have been unstoppable, were forced into retreats or isolated positions. Human ships coordinated attacks with unerring timing, striking critical points while avoiding direct confrontation when unnecessary. Electronic countermeasures scrambled enemy communications, and stealth systems allowed ships to appear where they should not have been. Every move was calculated to make the aliens doubt their own abilities. Morale began to falter as losses mounted. Human ingenuity extended beyond weapons and shields. Strategies included psychological warfare, feints, and sudden retreats to lure enemies into traps. Alien ships that pursued humans were led into ambushes, where hidden vessels unleashed volleys that crippled engines and weapons. The aliens could not anticipate these maneuvers because humans had studied their patterns extensively, predicting reactions and using them against the enemy. What seemed like simple retreats were carefully planned gambits, turning the tide of battle again and again. Pilots and crews worked with flawless coordination, every vessel acting as part of a larger organism. Sensors, weapons, and engines were linked to allow instant adaptation. Humans had trained to anticipate enemy behavior in real time, improvising when unexpected situations arose. Flexibility and creativity became their greatest weapons. While the aliens relied on rigid doctrines and predictable tactics, the contrast was devastatingly effective. Each engagement highlighted the humans' ability to outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast the technologically superior force. Communication between Earth's ships was seamless. Commands and updates shared instantly across long distances, allowing rapid response to any threat. Every strike, maneuver, and defensive action was synchronized, creating an illusion of omnipresence. The aliens could not predict where the humans would appear next, nor which target would be struck. Their advanced scanners failed to detect hidden vessels or misread their positions. Chaos spread as alien formations became disorganized and their attack momentum faltered. Human engineers and tactical teams had prepared contingency plans for every possible scenario. Even unexpected losses were accounted for. Ships could adapt their roles. Weapons could shift targets, and energy systems could be rerouted instantly. The fleet's resilience became apparent as minor damages were absorbed without reducing overall effectiveness. Every setback was temporary. Every success compounded. The aliens were learning too late that numbers and technology alone could not secure victory. By the middle of the battle, the alien armada was struggling to maintain cohesion. Surprise attacks from previously hidden ships caused critical system failures. Morale dropped sharply as their supposedly inferior opponents consistently outmaneuvered and outsmarted them. Human ships, once underestimated, had become the dominant force in the battlefield. The so-called outdated vessels were proving that preparation, strategy, and adaptability could overcome raw power. The humans pressed their advantage relentlessly, coordinating strikes that targeted weak points, isolating enemy ships, and exploiting gaps in their formations. Even when outnumbered, the precision and innovation of the humans created opportunities for devastating counterattacks. Alien commanders were forced into defensive positions, struggling to maintain control, while Earth's fleet advanced methodically, gaining momentum and confidence with every engagement. The turning point of the battle had arrived, showing that cunning and courage could outshine even the most advanced technology. By the end of the engagement, the human fleet had inflicted serious damage while sustaining minimal losses. Alien ships retreated to regroup, shaken by an enemy they had underestimated. Every human crew member understood that their tactics had turned the tide. The battlefield had shifted in their favor, and the galaxy was witnessing how skill, ingenuity, and determination could make even the oldest, seemingly outdated ships into instruments of dominance and power. Earth's admirals studied the alien armada carefully, knowing that the final phase of the battle would require absolute precision. They had already worn down the enemy through deception, feints, and relentless skirmishes. But now it was time to execute a decisive gambit. The human fleet moved with quiet confidence, positioning ships in formations that seemed ordinary but concealed complex strategies. Every vessel had a role. Every maneuver was synchronized, and every action designed to lure the aliens into a trap. The plan relied on exploiting the arrogance of the enemy. Alien commanders assumed that their size and firepower gave them the advantage, and that human ships, being older and smaller, could be cornered or destroyed with overwhelming force. Humans used this expectation against them. Some ships acted as bait, appearing weak, retreating under pressure, and inviting pursuit, while hidden capital vessels waited in ambush, ready to strike at the enemy's most vulnerable points. Decoy ships led the armada into zones filled with natural hazards, carefully mapped by human strategists. Asteroid fields, magnetic anomalies, and energy disruptions created conditions that slowed the alien ships while giving humans full mobility. Hidden mines and automated drones lay in wait, ready to attack at precise moments. Alien vessels became trapped in environments they could neither predict nor escape easily. Every decision they made played into human hands. The humans coordinated attacks with precision that seemed almost supernatural. Communication networks allowed instantaneous sharing of data. Any shift in the battlefield was immediately relayed across the fleet, ensuring that every ship adapted in perfect synchronization. Attacks came from multiple directions simultaneously, disorienting the enemy, disabling engines, weapons, and command systems. The aliens were forced to react constantly instead of executing their own strategies. As the Armada fell into the trap, humans executed the second phase of the plan. Capital ships that had been hidden behind asteroids and space debris launched devastating volleys. Energy beams and missiles struck critical points while decoy ships drew attention elsewhere. The effect was catastrophic for the aliens. Flagship vessels suffered severe damage. Smaller ships were isolated and destroyed. Confusion spread rapidly. Alien morale plummeted, and command structures began to collapse under pressure. Human pilots displayed exceptional skill and courage, weaving through debris, coordinating strikes with near-perfect timing, and exploiting weaknesses exposed by the trap. Every engagement was rehearsed but adaptable, allowing crews to adjust to unforeseen developments. Electronic warfare disrupted enemy communications further, jamming sensors and misdirecting ships. Even the most technologically advanced alien vessels became vulnerable, unable to respond to tactics they could not anticipate. Engineers and tactical officers monitored every ship continuously, rerouting power to shields, weapons, or propulsion as needed. The fleet adapted in real time, ensuring that losses were minimized and offensive pressure maintained. Even when some vessels were damaged, their roles were seamlessly replaced by others. The human fleet functioned as a single living entity, every part contributing to the success of the plan. Every action designed to maximize the enemy's confusion and losses. The aliens attempted to regroup, but humans anticipated their moves, blocking escape routes, striking flanks, and cutting off reinforcements. Every action deepened the trap, turning apparent weaknesses of human ships into tactical advantages. The battlefield was now entirely under human control. Every ambush had been calculated. Every strike delivered with devastating efficiency, and the enemy had nowhere left to maneuver safely. Despite the intensity of the battle, humans remained calm and focused, their patience allowing them to execute the plan flawlessly. Crews understood that their success depended not only on weapons, but on timing, coordination, and adaptability. Every moment was critical, and every vessel played a role in the greater strategy. The combination of deception, preparation, and courage had turned the odds completely in their favor. By the end of the engagement, the alien armada had suffered crippling losses. Flagship vessels crippled, formations broken, and morale shattered. Human ships emerged largely intact, ready to press further if necessary. The decisive gambit had worked perfectly, demonstrating that strategy, intelligence, and careful planning could overcome even overwhelming technological superiority. The galaxy was witnessing a force that defied expectations, showing that even outdated ships, when guided by ingenuity and courage, could achieve victory against all odds. Human admirals allowed a moment of quiet satisfaction, knowing that their bold plan had secured a turning point. The enemy had been outmaneuvered, humiliated, and weakened, and the humans, thrown among the stars, remained unchallenged. The universe had seen that strength was not just measured in numbers or technology, but in intelligence, courage, and the ability to turn every disadvantage into a weapon. By the time the alien armada attempted to regroup, Earth's fleet had already established complete control over the battlefield. Alien commanders were disoriented, their ships scattered, and systems failing. Humans pressed their advantage relentlessly, every strike calculated, every maneuver coordinated. The so-called outdated vessels that the galaxy had mocked moved with precision, striking key targets while avoiding unnecessary risks. The aliens realized too late that their superior numbers and advanced technology had not guaranteed victory. Human ships, operating as a single cohesive force, exploited every weakness, isolating enemy vessels and disabling command centers. Even the most powerful alien cruisers struggled against coordinated attacks. Missiles and energy beams struck critical points with pinpoint accuracy. Hidden drones sabotaged engines and communication systems, and electronic countermeasures rendered some weapons useless. Alien fleets began to retreat in small groups, attempting to escape, but Earth's forces anticipated their moves, cutting off escape routes and forcing them into traps. The aliens' morale collapsed as they witnessed the effectiveness of the human strategy. What had seemed like old, outdated ships now dominated the battlefield, destroying vessels that should have been invincible. Alien pilots became hesitant, fearful of the invisible threats surrounding them. their confidence shattered. The psychological impact of human ingenuity was as devastating as the physical damage. Commanders struggled to maintain order as chaos spread through their ranks. Human admirals remained calm and focused, using the alien retreat to tighten their control. Ships repositioned strategically to block reinforcements and secure key areas. Sensors scanned for any hidden threats, while energy fields and decoy systems ensured that no enemy vessel could approach undetected. Every human captain understood the importance of discipline and coordination, their confidence unwavering as they continued to strike with precision. Throughout the engagement, Earth's fleet demonstrated flexibility and adaptability. Small groups of ships performed specialized tasks, some attacking, others defending, and some acting as distractions. Alien forces could not predict which targets were genuine threats, creating hesitation and mistakes. Every misstep was exploited, losses mounted, and the retreat became disorganized. What began as a controlled withdrawal turned into a desperate attempt to escape. The aliens attempted to regroup around remaining capital ships, hoping to regain control. But humans anticipated these movements, using stealth and ambush tactics to disable critical vessels. Each engagement further diminished alien strength. Even their most advanced technology could not compensate for the human advantage in planning, coordination, and battlefield awareness. Every battle reinforced the lesson that ingenuity and preparation could outweigh brute force. Earth's ships moved through the battlefield like a well-oiled machine, communication networks linking every vessel, enabling instantaneous adaptation to changing conditions. Ships could shift roles mid-battle, redirecting weapons, shields, and propulsion systems as needed. Crews reacted instinctively to threats, executing maneuvers that combined years of training with real-time decision-making. The fleet's efficiency was unmatched, and the aliens were unable to respond effectively. As the final confrontations occurred, human forces systematically eliminated remaining pockets of resistance, targeting weakened ships, critical systems, and command centers. Alien casualties increased, and the survivors were forced into full retreat. Earth's fleet remained largely intact, a testament to careful planning, preparation, and superior strategy. The battle had not only proven human strength, but had also demonstrated the importance of ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. With the alien armada broken and retreating, the galaxy began to recognize a new reality. Earth's ships, though outdated in appearance, had triumphed over superior technology and numbers. The Council's earlier underestimation of humanity now seemed a grievous error. Respect and cautious admiration began to replace scorn and ridicule. Humans had defended their home, preserved their fleet, and established themselves as a power that could not be ignored. In the aftermath, Earth's admirals coordinated recovery and repairs, preparing the fleet for any future threats. The psychological impact on the galaxy was immense. Stories of human bravery, strategy, and clever tactics spread quickly. Alien civilizations were forced to reconsider their assumptions, realizing that technology alone could not predict the outcome of a conflict, and that intelligence, creativity, and determination could overcome even overwhelming odds. By the end of the battle, humanity's throne among the stars remained unchallenged, the fleet intact, and the galaxy had learned a vital lesson. Appearances could be deceiving. Underestimated forces could achieve the impossible, and courage combined with ingenuity could defeat even the most formidable enemies. Earth had proven that it was not only capable of defending itself, but could do so with brilliance, strategy, and unwavering resolve, leaving the universe in awe of human skill and determination. In the aftermath of the battle, humans moved with quiet efficiency, securing the Sol system and ensuring that no remaining alien forces could regroup or pose a threat. Every ship in the fleet carried out repairs, replenished supplies, and maintained readiness. The so-called outdated vessels that had astonished the galaxy now glimmered with renewed purpose, each one a symbol of human ingenuity, perseverance, and courage. The universe had witnessed a demonstration of skill that went far beyond technology. Command centers on Earth coordinated the fleet, analyzing battle data, mapping enemy movements, and learning from every engagement. Even as the armada retreated, humans remained vigilant, ensuring that no hidden pockets of resistance could exploit weaknesses. Engineers and scientists continued refining systems, enhancing shields, improving weapons, and updating strategies. The fleet was not simply surviving, it was evolving, becoming stronger, smarter, and more unpredictable with each passing day. News of the human victory spread rapidly across the galaxy, first through scouts, then through interstellar communications, and finally through word of mouth among civilizations that had once dismissed Earth. Alien species began to acknowledge the effectiveness of human tactics. Their assumptions about the planet's technology and capabilities shattered. Respect replaced ridicule, fear mingled with admiration, and every observer realized that humans could not be underestimated. The Galactic Council convened once more, this time with a different perspective. Representatives who had mocked Earth's fleet now studied it with caution, trying to understand how a so-called primitive force could overcome superior numbers and technology. Humans remained polite but firm in their communications, offering insights selectively while keeping critical strategies secret. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted, and humanity's voice carried weight that it had never had before. Earth's fleet became a symbol, not just of military power, but of the combination of intelligence, courage, and adaptability. Historians and strategists from countless civilizations studied the battle, trying to understand how human ingenuity had turned obsolete ships into instruments of dominance. Manuals, simulations, and tactical reports circulated across the stars, inspiring fear in some, admiration in others, and forcing every species to reconsider what true power meant. While the alien armada regrouped far from human space, Earth's admirals remained proactive, planning defenses, conducting drills, and maintaining vigilance. The humans understood that victory was not only about defeating enemies, but also about being prepared for the next challenge. Every ship remained on alert, every crew trained, and every system maintained with meticulous care. The lesson of the battle was clear. Strength lay in readiness, adaptability, and the ability to exploit opportunity, not merely in the size of a fleet or the sophistication of technology. Civilians on Earth celebrated cautiously, knowing that the battle had secured their planet, but that vigilance was still necessary. The victory was not just about survival, but about proving humanity's place in the galaxy. Schools and academies taught the story of the fleet. Engineers and scientists were honored, and young pilots aspired to join the ranks. The legend of how outdated ships had defended the throne among the stars inspired a generation, instilling confidence, courage, and creativity. Across the galaxy, species who had once looked down on humans now approached cautiously. Treaties were reconsidered, alliances reevaluated, and respect for Earth became unavoidable. Humans had demonstrated that appearances could be deceiving, that intelligence and strategy could overcome brute force, and that determination combined with careful preparation could secure victories no one expected. The human fleet was no longer a target for ridicule, but a standard by which all others measured their own capabilities. In the quiet aftermath, humans prepared to ensure their sovereignty, sharing select knowledge and engaging in diplomacy to maintain balance, but they never revealed the full extent of their fleet's capabilities. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Never underestimate the underestimated, and never assume that old technology cannot dominate when guided by human skill and ingenuity. Earth's throne among the stars was not just preserved, it was cemented, respected, and unchallenged. Humanity had shown the universe that courage, preparation, intelligence, and teamwork could achieve the impossible, that even the most obsolete vessels could become weapons of legend, and that determination could turn the tide of war. The story of the battle became a lasting legacy, a warning and an inspiration, and Earth's place in the cosmos was secure, proving once and for all that humans could hold their throne among the stars, untouchable and revered.